Okay, welcome back, everybody. My name is Darson Grantham. It's the Market Makers of Iowa Real Estate podcast. And today we have an interesting one. We have Ryan Dozer, and he's not an agent. He's not a lender, but he is quasi in the real estate market. And the reason being is he is an AI and a marketer, an AI expert, AI consultant, and a marketer. And I wanted to have him on because I've dug into AI essentially a little bit before ChatGPT came out. And I find it underutilized by agents and lenders, but still very much overwhelming. And Ryan came on and gave some very tactical and very philosophical ways that we can use AI in our business. And I just think agents and lenders, especially in the Des Moines market, being that we're not on the coast, we usually kind of fall behind what the new trendy things are, at least for a few months. And so having Ryan coming on and giving us very tactical, very philosophical, honestly, answers and reasons and ways to use AI and marketing. I think a lot of us forget that marketing is what pays the bills. Like, yes, sales happen, but sales happen because of marketing and branding. And he gives us some good ways to use AI in helping our business. So without further ado, let's have Ryan on. Cool, Ryan. I appreciate you joining us on the Market Makers of Iowa Real Estate podcast. Before we kind of get into where real estate agents should, use marketing, use AI, how those things fit together, just give us some background of what you've done in the past and kind of where you were before you kind of became the marketer, AI person here.
Well, I appreciate you calling me the person.
Yeah.
So my background really stems, I went to the University of Northern Iowa, so I got a 4-year degree there. My first dab in marketing was with a company called Anamad Global. They're in Chicago now. That was my first internship where I learned, really what goes on with SEO, how to generate leads for clients. And it really opened up my eyes. I was like, oh, wow, this is what marketing really is anymore. And then from there, I landed my first job at Meredith Corporation down the street here. So I was running, me and another guy were in charge of multi-million-dollar paid search budgets for all their big titles: People, Better Homes and Gardens, whatever, Real Simple, Southern Living, all the big titles at Meredith owned. So we were responsible managing the ad dollars for that, which some months was like $500,000 a month. And they trusted me, a 23-year-old kid and a 25-year-old guy. I'm just like, all right, whatever, but it was really good experience doing that. And so I quickly learned that probably 2 months in, that corporate was just not for me. So had to game plan stuff out, read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. That really inspired me. I don't know if you've read that book
absolutely.
before.
It's one of my first.
Always choose uncertainty over unhappiness. That's the quote that still lives with me today. And so I read that book, and that was like my light bulb in the head, where he just talks a lot about his experience in corporate America and how they reward busyness over actual production. And I'm like, wow, this is actually how it works. And so that fueled me to start doing stuff on the side. I started a blog. I started taking on side client work, started learning stuff on my own.
What year was this?
This would have been 2019.
Okay.
Yep. And so from there, I had an opportunity from a guy at a previous internship. I didn't discuss this, but I interned at the Iowa PGA for 2 summers when I was in college. He started his own affiliate marketing business, and he reached out to me and he's like, hey, Ryan, I see you're doing marketing stuff. You want to work for me? And that was like my perfect opportunity to go 1099 with him and take him on as my first client, quit my corporate job. And then he just became my biggest client for about 3 years. I picked up other smaller ones as time went on. And so I was doing that. Then I got reached out to or recruited by a big SEO company as a senior SEO analyst. And it was really good, right? I had a wedding coming up and I had a lot of bills to pay. So it was one of those where it was like, I'm just going to try it. It's a remote job. Still, work on my business on the side.
You could do too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I was kind of finessing it, right?
Yeah.
I hope they don't hear this, but I was finessing it to some extent. And so I was doing that, building my business on the side. And at one point, I burned out. I couldn't do it anymore. Like, the money was good at the time, whatever, getting the benefits, the 401k, the salary, the business is growing. I'm like, oh my God. And then I just burned out. I hit a wall.
How many hours do you think you were working?
I mean, my wife could probably tell you 60, 70, 80 some week,
Yep. So you were working 2 full-time jobs.
For sure. For sure. And if you're building a business, that it is a full-time job, right? So I was doing that, burned out. And then I just thought, you know what? They had a meeting one day. They had new management. Basically, it was like, you're going to work 10 times harder for the same pay. And I was like, absolutely not. So I just quit on a whim. And they were like, why would you quit? I'm like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm not even going to deal with this anymore. So then I went back into entrepreneurship, and I've been doing this about a year and a half now. I made the leap back in. And so my day-to-day is I still do affiliate marketing in the tech niche. I do lead generation for more high-ticket industries, high-ticket medical. I do a dental IT company, and there's all sorts of other companies I do high-ticket lead gen for. And then I also do AI consulting, and I have an AI YouTube channel. Ryan Dozer AI is really what it's titled now. And I do AI consulting. So I just spoke at last week for Compass Financial over just, random AI topics that they want me to talk about, how we can apply AI to certain industries in the real world. And so that's really the next wave of where I'm trying to go, is build that AI consulting and build my name as like one of the thought leaders in AI.
So the AI, we'll get in. Yeah, actually, let's just get into it. So when you say AI, like the goal is still to just make more money.
It's always the goal,
right?
But AI is just to make your life easier, improve productivity, save hours.
Correct. And so that could be marketing, and it could not be marketing. It could be operations.
Correct.
Right. So that's the difference between your marketing, because you could have just stayed marketing, right? You always want to be known for someone. Totally get it. Or something. I get it. But in the marketing world, like, you can build AI automation in there, and your consumer doesn't have any idea, essentially.
I do that to some extent already.
Right. And so your consumer as the business doesn't necessarily know. The consumer that's buying the product doesn't necessarily know. But what was I guess, let's just dig in. What was the purpose of, like, I want to be the AI guy and not just the badass marketer guy?
Yeah. I saw a huge trend. Well, marketing's getting very oversaturated right now. And then I saw a huge trend when ChatGPT got released to the public in November of 2022. Instantly, I saw that because I was using, you ever heard of Jasper AI? So I was using Jasper before Jarvis, and then Disney sued them. They had to go to Jasper. So I was already before the ChatGPT, and you said you were too. So you know what I'm talking about here. And so when ChatGPT came out, I saw the buzz that it created, and I thought, oh my God, I have to like get on top of this, because this is all generative AI is only going to go up from here, and it has. We're still in the early stages, in my opinion. And so from there, I thought there was a huge opportunity when ChatGPT was released. And I created a YouTube channel, and I just started creating content on it. And I'm almost at 5K subscribers now. You have a YouTube channel. Yep. You know how it works. Hard to build it, right? So we're getting there. It's like compound interest. It'll grow, one day at a time. But yeah, to answer your question, long story short, I just saw a massive opportunity when ChatGPT was released, and I just haven't really looked back since.
So, yeah, like what is when people are hesitant against AI of like, I don't know, what's your rebuttal on that? What's your script? I would say, like, in Realtor, like, there's a script for, rates are too high. Right. We can't buy.
Yeah.
So it's like AI, like, it's going to take over the world, Ryan. Or like, what's the why would someone not want to use AI?
Yeah. So let me preface this first by saying, if you're probably age 50 or over, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal, right? You're already towards the end of your career. You're doing what you're doing, and hopefully you have enough saved up for retirement and Social Security and whatnot. So let me just preface by saying that.
You listen to Gary Vaynerchuk?
I used to, not as much.
So he always does the thing like, hey, everyone raise your hand if you're going to retire in 5 years. And he's like, not those that are going to crush it, but like, you're going to die. Like, you're just going to be done and you're out of it in 5 years. So like, this is irrelevant to you. The rest of you, this is it.
Similar to what he's saying there.
Yeah.
But anyone below the age of 50, have you seen Moneyball, the movie Moneyball? Mm-hmm. So Billy Beane, the old GM at the time of the Oakland A's, walks up to this old scout to get in an argument. I don't know if you remember the scene, and he says, adapt or die, claps his hands, and then walks away. And I always tell people this as I'm going into every AI consultation. That's one of the first slides. I say, it doesn't matter what your feelings are about AI. If you love it, hate it, you're scared of it, it's already here, it's coming. And guess what? It's only becoming more prevalent in our everyday lives. So it truly is an adapt or die situation, regardless of what you think about it.
Haven't we thought that same thing about the Google, the goggles, the AI, the
meta,
the metaverse, or like
metaverse,
but I wish I could say it. Where you put on goggles and you can like just see everylt Google,
the metaverse. I think
that's called metaverse.
I think so.
So like, it hasn't really taken over, and it felt like at that time when it started, like, everyone was like, oh, you're gonna be sitting in your office or sitting in your house, and you're gonna be walking through the Grand Canyon, right? So like, what's the difference between that and this?
I think the metaverse is really just like an alternate reality of like almost like a Sims type thing for entertainment. I don't know if there's much actual business practicality behind that versus generative AI as we know it today with ChatGPT, with all these AI video generators, audio, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's more business application to those versus the metaverse.
So it's more tangible today, and not necessarily tangible in 30. Not as we don't know exactly what it'll be in 30 years ish. Yeah, AI. Yeah.
And I think humans in general crave authenticity and reality.
Yes. But isn't that go backwards of AI? Like,
yes and no. I mean, you can still make AI more authentic than the metaverse, right? The metaverse is a completely alternative reality. I don't know a lot about it, being honest, but AI, you can still humanize it to some extent.
yeah. Okay, cool. So tell me, someone that's in our audience is realtors and lenders. And I've been in the insurance industry, and every industry says, oh, we're just so old school. We're black, we don't change fast. Every single industry says this, except maybe the tech industry.
Right.
And even then, some of them would probably say, oh, we don't move very fast compared to XYZ industry. But keep your audience in mind. The AI world, and how AI and marketing kind of work together as real estate agents and lenders. What do you see like a 101 place to learn? Like, where can tactically we learn before implementing?
Yeah. So I could start with AI or marketing, but I think it's just having an AI first mindset. And what do I mean by this? So before, if you had a problem to something or you had a question, you didn't know how to answer it, what would you do, Darson? You'd go to Google, you would bug your coworker, you'd bug your boss. Well, now AI first, if you don't know the answer to something, pull up ChatGPT, a free account, pull up Claude, pull up Google Gemini or one of these free large language models and just start prompting it and then just fail. Just keep going until you fail and you'll take away little micro wins here and there. Like, oh, why did it come back with that? Well, I guess I need to change my prompt here. Oh, now would it come back with that? And just keep reworking it. You can also go to YouTube. You can find articles. There's books out there. Podcasts out there coming out every day about AI. So staying informed and consuming media from credible sources, but also actually diving into the platforms yourself and just failing.
That's what I found is the action.
Yeah. Like anything in life.
Oh my goodness. My assistant today, literally, she goes, ChatGPT just gave me the best job description for this VA that we have hired. She's like, we had a conversation and then I wrote what I wanted it to be and it popped out like the most perfect job description. She's like, that saved me at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So using it, where do you see it failing agents and lenders? Like where could they go wrong of like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So the legality portion, the copyright, plagiarism, there's always risks of doing stuff like that. I would also say the personal brand and authenticity element is missing from AI, right? Think about real estate, right? Building a strong personal brand is foundational to realtors, as you would know more than I would. So when people are too reliant on AI for creating content on their social platforms, they're not showing up to networking events. They're just hoping that AI generated social posts are going to generate them leads or AI blogs or anything AI generated. I think that's a big misconception and that's a bad mentality to have. I think the personal brand should come first and then you can supplement that with AI.
Okay. So now let's get tactical on that. Because what you just said is like, oh yeah, that's what AI is supposed to do. But you just said it couldn't do that or it didn't do it well. So like, how do the agents and lenders do it well?
Yeah, video. So AI can't produce, it can, but the iterations aren't good enough yet where if you went up onto a camera and started recording videos of yourself, hey, here are 5 tips right now that interest rates are lower. Here's what I think about interest rates and giving your actual authentic opinion in a video, AI cannot replicate that right now. And I think that stuff like that, that's one example that AI can't produce of how you can separate yourself with the personal branding.
So the writing in the AI world is not like, that isn't mesmerizing to you, isn't something the agent should be like, this is amazing.
Well, I'll give you tips on how to make it sound like you.
Okay.
So what you should do is you should either invest in ChatGPT Plus or Claude Pro. Both are $20 a month. And in ChatGPT Plus, you can build a custom GPT and then you can upload your writing guides, any work that you've done in the past, any brand guides. If you work for a brand, you have certain guidelines to follow, basically training this custom model to make it sound like you in all of your outputs. Same with Claude. These are called Claude projects. You can upload knowledge. What I've done actually for mine is I've uploaded transcriptions of podcasts that I've been on, just like this, videos that I produce where it's only me. So it understands my voice, not just my writing, but my pauses, my filler words, so it can understand me as best as possible. And then you use these custom GPTs or Claude projects for content creation, replying to emails, or whatever other use cases that you have.
Okay, I think we can stop now. I think that's that. No, I'm just kidding. That
was very technical.
I love it. So like I've tested that and I've tried a little bit and I've either given up or failed or whatnot. But little bits and pieces. So I've implemented it, but I could do better and more in what you just said, like adds a lot to like the extra that I haven't spent that time doing.
And just keep training it too. I mean, it's not just like a one and done. You upload a brand guide, you upload instructions, and you keep using it. You just keep training it. If there are new articles that you wrote and they were 100% original, you had a video, upload the transcript of the video that you did. Keep training the models, because the more data that these models have, that is your ultimate moat, is the data that you have to upload to these AI models.
Cool. What about someone that like, they just don't want to, it just means being late. What if they don't want to do it? Like, what if they're like, how can I outsource this? How can I just build that into my already busy schedule? Because this seems like a pretty daunting task that, I mean, you're going to have to cut some time out to do it.
Well, there's definitely VAs out there, I'm sure, that could do something like this, create a custom GPT, find all the data of you in Google's knowledge graph, upload all the knowledge of yourself in the custom GPT and create content for you, schedule out on socials, et cetera, write content, write blogs, whatever your content is. You could hire a VA to do that if they know what they're doing, of course.
Right. And so then your only goal there is to make sure the agent or the VA is doing it, like knows the process, can figure out the process. You know, you might have to train the VA, but they're absolutely doing it. Okay. This reminds me a lot of my real estate coaches. I get done with a call with them and I'm like, it seems so easy. I just got to do this thing. And then what? Right. What else am I not missing? Cause like right now, honestly, you've explained enough that to me, lenders should be able to pull many tactical and just philosophical business practices away from this.
I'll give you some other quick use cases for real world that aren't necessarily marketing related, but they could be. I was actually talking to him when we got on the show about this summarization, right?
Shout out to Aki over there.
Yeah. Woo. So talk about summarization, right? So if there's a long article, a long PDF, think of all the paperwork. I bought a house. Think about all the paperwork that goes into buying a property. Well, let's say you don't have time to read all of that. You just upload it to ChatGPT and say, give me 5 high-level bullet points of what this article entails. That's 100 pages long, and how can I use this? What's the takeaway? Hey, there's a long article that'll take me a half hour to read. I don't have time to read that. Google's algorithm update just came out. I don't want to read the whole article or documentation. Give me 3 bullet points of what it entails and what I should do to improve my website, right? Those are just really quick examples. You can summarize a YouTube video. You can summarize a podcast. I don't want to listen to this podcast. I don't want to listen to this YouTube video. Get the transcript. Put it into ChatGPT. Give me 3 bullet points. What did it talk about? So summarization, emails too, right? If there's a long email, you can summarize the long email into 3 bullet points that are digestible, high level, high takeaways. So the ability to summarize long content, that is what AI can do, is save you literally hours of just summarizing things, because we spend so much time on this stuff.
Yeah. One thing too, a tactical thing, I write a lot of notes in my notebook. I didn't realize until last week you can take a picture of that, upload the image to ChatGPT, and they'll spit out written words of what your notes said, right? And previously there was just the remarkable tablet that did that. And now that this is going on, I'm like, well, I saved myself $800. I didn't have to buy that thing.
Yeah. It's called the vision component. I mean, you can do a PDF, you can take a picture. There was one example where there's like a confusing parking sign in New York City, and he took a picture of it. He's like, can I park here today? It's 2 p.m. on a Monday. And it was like, no, you can't because of and it like read the sign and told him he couldn't park there.
That's great. Yes. That's fun. Okay. Away from AI, or maybe like not just straight AI, how about the marketing side of things? You're advanced in marketing. I laughed that the whatever company was gave you an ad budget of X $100,000 to use, and you're like, well, why would they give it to us? Well, the nuts and bolts of it is it's very tractable how good you are, right? Because if you're good, you can say this produced this, which is one of my favorite parts of marketing. Sometimes I argue I'm much less of a real estate agent than I am of a marketer, right?
Correct.
Everyone's a marketer. I like marketing way more than I like real estate. But real estate is kind of the business in the back end of, hey, how do we build this business? So as a marketer, and what you've seen out of real estate agents, maybe the ones you've used or you've seen in your neighborhood or whatever, what do you think, like just a couple things that you would say, hey, agents are just really missing the boat on this ability to either build their brand or tactically get people to raise their hand that they want help buying and selling real estate?
Yeah. So I touched on the personal brand stuff earlier. That's a big one. But number 2, I would say just high level, using a CRM where you can keep track, organize, monitor leads. I don't know any real estate specific CRMs, but like HubSpot, for example, right? Using a basic CRM, because you'd be surprised how many old school realtors and lenders and just businesses in general that aren't tracking anything with leads. They have spreadsheets from 1995. They have notepads all over their desk of this lead came in yesterday, right? They're not monitoring leads. They're not organizing. They're not nurturing leads, which is a huge part of this. So that's high level, right? Using a CRM. Number two, I'd focus on the local SEO side too, right? So local SEO, meaning you're a realtor in Des Moines, Iowa. So optimizing your Google My Business profile, build one if you don't have one already. Optimizing your Google My Business profile for real estate specific keywords on the niches of real estate that you do. Is it commercial, industrial commercial? Is it residential? And also the target services or target locations too, right? So Johnston, Urbandale, West Des Moines, et cetera. Building out local service pages on your website's another part of that, and also building local citations in addition to optimizing your Google My Business profile. Local SEO, personal branding, and using a CRM. I mean, you can also just create content at scale. This goes back to what I talked about with AI too. Creating video content and then using AI to repurpose the video content. I was talking to a buddy who's a realtor actually about this the other day. I call it the AI content hack, where you do long form content. So that could be a podcast, it could be YouTube videos on educational and informational content in your niche. So real estate, about, 10 things to know about interest rates coming down, right? Some informational thing that someone would want to know. Well, you do the long form content consistently. You use AI to chop that up into short form variations. You can use a tool like Opus Clip to chop up, you've probably used this before, right? To chop up long form video into short form clips, mobile optimized subtitles, auto schedule on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. You can then repurpose that. You can take the transcript, repurpose it into SEO optimized blog posts for certain keywords. You can repurpose it into social media posts. You can repurpose it into email newsletters, right? Taking long form content that is 100% authentic that you create and using AI to repurpose that into short form variations. And of course, the content has to be valuable and you have to be consistent for all this to work.
Okay. Take a breath there. That was a lot.
I love it. Yeah. I just ramble.
I could talk about this stuff. Like this is where I could go super deep. I'm not going to, because honestly, like many agents watching this, like it's super overwhelming, because if you don't have a database, like to me, that's number one, right? Like we need to have a database. We need to have a CRM. But there's enormous number of people that aren't. But if you are an agent that wants some of this and you're like, hey, I don't have time to do this. I want to hire it out. Help me help them hire a marketing agency. Someone like yourself, someone like, what interview questions would you ask, or what should they ask a marketer to say, yeah, come into my business, help me do X, Y, and Z. Any advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, budget's a big thing.
Yep.
So I'm a small boutique agency. I have a partner in Florida, and so there's only a certain amount of work that we can handle. This is kind of off topic, but on marketing agencies, I had a conversation with him the other day that it's actually impossible to scale a marketing agency without sacrificing quality. And we could go down that rabbit hole if you want, but this is something I wanted to throw out there in this episode. But yeah, I mean, that's a big thing too. Also understanding like, what are your goals, right? So a lot of people come in and they just say, I want leads. I want as many leads possible. And I'm going to call time out on that, because I tell people all the time, I do high ticket lead gen. So I would rather have 10 quality leads than just 1 million leads. Leads are completely worthless if the quality is not there, because then you're wasting resources, you're wasting time, you're wasting acquisition costs. So I'd want to make sure that my values are aligned with what your values are, and also setting expectations up front too.
Yeah. So, I mean, what would we ask them then? Like, what would we actually ask the agent? Like, what the price is, what are they going to do? Like, how do we know that they're good at what they do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know, like, as a marketer, cause I put myself in your shoes. I get leads for an agent and they can't close anything. Those weren't bad leads. They just sucked at closing.
Inbound sales team sucks, man. It's the bane of my existence.
Yep. So like, you can't try, you're like, no, I brought you leads. And the agent says, no, they sucked. It's the fight there. So how do agents find that marketer that is it just a blind trust? And you're like, on both sides?
Yeah, testimonials, word of mouth. I mean, just look at Des Moines, man. I mean, I could go talk to anyone about XYZ company if they're big enough, and someone will know someone, or they'll know something about them. So
good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad. Yeah. So word of mouth, obviously is the biggest one. I'd obviously maybe vet them out, maybe do a 30-day test run, right? So, hey, here's a budget, here's some money. I'll give you 30 days, 30 to 60 days is probably the shortest time frame I would go, because that's when results usually kick in. And so give it a little test run. And then if nothing happens, hey, sorry, it's not going to work. We'll move on to the next thing. If it does, okay, you saw a little taste there. Now let's up the budget a little bit and let's just keep going.
Yeah. Turn on the faucet, essentially.
For
I
sure.
liked what you very first said. It's like, I want to know blah, blah, blah. I want to know, what their goal is, what their budget is. I would say if you go to a marketer and you want to hire them and they don't ask those questions, they're probably not, the marketer that you want, because they're just doing whatever they think is right. And they're not actually figuring it out for you.
Well, most marketers just try to chase business and make money, which, that's business, right? That's America. And people love to make money, you know what I mean? But where I differentiate myself, my partners the same way, is we try to provide as much value as we can to these companies. Unfortunately, we probably care too much about these businesses that we work with, where we're tracking their leads every day. Did they close? And the average marketing agency does not care.
Yep.
They just, hey, we got you leads. Pay our $5,000 or $10,000 a month invoice, one meeting a month, on to the next one. Oh, we lost you. We'll go find 2 more clients just like you. Churn and burn, churn and burn. I never want to be like that.
So you don't plan to scale?
Not my marketing. Yeah. Nope. So I have agents, I have clients. I want to kind of keep a smaller clientele, higher ticket, more quality clients. I'd rather focus my efforts on building my AI consulting, AI YouTube. I told him I'm probably going to build an AI marketing course at some point, teaching marketers how to use AI, really focusing more on my personal brand, and then just using kind of the clientele to pay my bills right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Thanks for digging deep into that. There's a lot of people that kind of get hesitant of like, it's my business. Let's not, but yeah, I appreciate that transparency. Is there any questions that you either have for real estate agents, or you want answered, or maybe, something of like, that was bad.
Yeah, no, what's the big hesitation? I mean, like, I understand like realtors who are older, they're stuck in their ways. It's an old school industry, but like someone like your age, right? Or people that are just hesitant to use AI, their competitors are using it. So why, if you want to be as good as what you do and be the best in your field, in your location, like what's the hesitation?
Yeah, I agree completely. My gut instinct, most folks would say I don't have time to do it, right? I don't have time, and I don't know how to find someone that has time. And that's just a limiting belief, right? How much time do you watch Netflix?
Right.
How much time do you, we could go on and on at how much time people waste. Even the best I feel like I work hard, and I know that I have at least 10 hours a week, at least, that I could probably find to do this if I absolutely wanted to just go all out. And I'd probably do a fair good amount. So that would be my best guess. But I would agree with you. Challenge anyone on you have to do it. You have to tie it in. One thing I've started doing is at home, right? So telling my wife, hey, let's use ChatGPT, at home, and that making it more of a thing. Not my kids are set. My oldest kid is 7, so he's not quite there yet. But definitely just tying it into, instead of Googling, you just ask ChatGPT.
AI first mindset.
Yep. I've got it on my phone, on my first app that I click on is ChatGPT. One thing I think is, and I haven't seen this yet, and I'm sure it's out there, I just haven't researched enough, is like a script practice or script partner using ChatGPT, because we get the same general, objection handlers. And if you can have that conversation with, a ChatGPT verbally and not just via text, it would be easy to be able to drive down the road and practice your script play as you're just driving. And I hate drive. I love driving. I love the control of driving, but I do not like the practice of it.
I don't either.
It's a waste of freaking time.
Yep.
And as soon as I can get one that will drive me around, I will do that.
Yeah, the advanced voice mode just came out.
Did it?
ChatGPT has an advanced voice mode where you can have real-time dialect.
Okay, so maybe this is my chance.
That's a huge use case for that.
Yes.
Real-time language translation. Think about the intricacies of that. Traveling, no more Google Translate. Hey, also you can sound like this. You can sound, if I want to go to Germany, I need English to German real-time translation. But by the way, have a German accent too while you're at it. And it can do that. And then you can translate in other languages, go to German to Japanese to Spanish, etc. Right? It's crazy what it can do.
Okay, so you're telling me there's a chance. Awesome. Okay, before we wrap this up, anything else you want to share with agents and lenders?
What other questions do you have for me about AI? Are there any other?
We could go super deep into it. I just don't think it gets overwhelming super quick.
It does.
All right. And I'll be the first, and I've kind of tried to dive pretty heavy into it. I would say for an agent, I'm fairly advanced, but I get overwhelmed super easily. Like what you've told me today, I'm doing maybe a quarter of it. And I could do so much more. And
Well,
that, like,
let's just leave it here, because one last thing I'll bring up about this is the concept of using AI for ideation. I think this will be a good last point, right? So it comes back to the AI first mindset. If you don't know the answer to something, or you have no idea where to start, open up AI, right? I had this problem the other day. What YouTube videos do I make for my AI channel? Hey, ChatGPT, here are 5 YouTubers that I follow in the AI space and I like their content. Scrape all their videos. And here's my channel, by the way, so you understand what I've talked about, what I haven't talked about. Give me 5 YouTube video ideas that are SEO optimized, that an audience would find intriguing. Or hey, let's say you're an agent, right? Give me 10 social media ideas that I could use that are relevant to Des Moines, that are relevant to interest rates, or whatever the topic is. So long story short, using AI just for ideation alone will put you ahead of the curve.
that's what sold me at the very beginning, because it was right when I was putting out all my YouTube videos, and I was like, man, what do I need to do a video on? It was tough. So the ideation for sure. Cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. If folks do want to reach out to you, are you taking new clients? Do you want to have conversations?
I'm always taking consultations.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do AI consulting too.
Okay,
so I mean,
perfect.
if a company wants to hire me to come in, I'll speak during a lunch and learn. I can do one-on-ones. I can do a lot with AI consulting. So follow me on LinkedIn, Ryan Dozer. Find me on YouTube as well. Those are probably the 2 best spots.
Awesome. Cool. I appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yep.